welcome. So in this lesson, we are looking at 3 classical songs. These are iconic, familiar, beautiful classical pieces that sound really, really impressive, but are actually surprisingly easy to play. So you will be able to sound like a pro if you spend some time learning these songs. Here we go. The first song we're going to be looking at is Canon in D, also known as Pachelbel's Canon. And this is like the famous wedding song. It's so beautiful. And the great thing about this song is while it starts off sounding very simple, it develops and it becomes quite impressive as you get through the song. And the best part is that's the progression. So once you've learned that chord progression, it just repeats through the entire song and it never changes. So once you get comfortable with those movements, the rest of it just comes down to spending a little time practicing and developing your muscle memory. So I want to look at probably one of my favorite moments in the song, and it sounds super, super fancy and impressive, but really all it is just moving up and down the D major scale. So let's take a look. So you'll start with your 5-finger on D, and we're really just using the notes of the D major scale, so if you want to take a couple minutes to practice that, it's basically all white keys except when you play F, it's a sharp, and when you play C, it's going to be a sharp. So it rocks from D to C sharp to D, and then down to the low D. So it's this movement. Then you cross over with your 2 to C sharp. Your 5 can play A, E, F sharp. That's the first measure. You can go nice and slow at the beginning, and then your thumb is going to play this D again, and then up the octave. And I like to hit the B with my thumb because I have to travel to C sharp, F sharp, A, and B. And now it's a little bit easier from this point. G with a 3, F sharp, E, and then I'm going to place my 4 on G, and now I'm just going to walk down F sharp, E, D, C sharp with my 3, B, A, G with my 3-finger, F sharp, E, G, F sharp, E. Doesn't that sound so pretty? So one more time. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to these muscle movements, but once you got it, it just sounds so impressive. And then the left hand is going to be following this D, A, A, A. So it's just this 5, 1, 5, 1. And then we're in a new chord shape. So B, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. And then we're going to be going to G, D, D, D. And then we're going to go G, G, A, A. So it takes a bit to get that pattern, but once you have it, it's going to sound so good. G, D, D. And we're going to add in the right hand in just a moment so you can hear how it sounds. You can sound super impressive, and we've got a transcription of this for you, so you can download it and learn the whole song if you like. And so the beginning, like I said, just follows a chord progression, and then it develops from there. This is measures 17 through 20, and it just sounds beautiful. And it feels so good under the fingers once you have it, and you can play it super fast. The next song is the dramatic, the emotional Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven. So you will completely recognize this as soon as you hear it. It sounds like this. It's very dramatic. It's a very moody song. I really, really, really loved playing the song when I was a teenager. Helped me feel my feelings. Anyways, it's so pretty. And the first movement, the first sort of part of this song is less challenging than you might think. By looking at the sheet music, it can seem daunting because it's like, oh my gosh, there's 4 sharps and look at all those notes and what does it all mean? But again, it's just chord shapes. So let's break it down so that you can start playing it. So we're going to begin with our right hand in this shape, which is technically a second inversion C sharp minor chord, which you don't really have to know, but if you like chords, it could be helpful. You just need a G sharp, a C sharp, and an E. And the great news is this is all you have to do for the first 2 measures. So you're going to roll like this through each of the 4 repetitions in each measure. So here's our second measure. 1, 2, Then we're gonna change just a little bit. We've got A, C sharp, E, which is an A major chord. Then we change to A, D, F sharp, which is a D major chord. Then we're gonna go back to G sharp here. B sharp is what's on the notation, which is the same thing as C, so that can feel a little confusing. And then G sharp, C sharp, E, G sharp, C sharp, D sharp. And now we're gonna drop our thumb to F sharp. And then this B is sharped still because it's tied, kind of brought over from earlier in the measure where it was sharped. That's one of those fun music rules. If you see a sharp in a measure, all the notes that are that note in that measure are gonna follow that same rule. So we've got F sharp, B sharp, aka C, and then D sharp. And then we take a breath. And there's another little fancy part that we're gonna look at, but first I just want you to see how you can add in your left hand because it's much more simple than it might seem. So our left hand's gonna be playing C sharp. And we're gonna be dramatic, use your paddle. Be kind of heavy with your left hand if you want to. We moved our left hand down to B. We're just playing octaves. Now we're gonna move it to A. And we're gonna get ready here on F sharp. Here we go. And then we're gonna get ready on G sharp. So here it is. And we're gonna repeat that. It sounds so good. And then you can keep going. So this next part looks crazy, but I promise you, it's not as hard as it might seem. I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do. You're gonna play C sharp, G sharp, and C sharp. And then we've got another note in the stack, and it looks insane, but you're gonna play it with your right hand. So we're gonna play E, and it'll sound like this. Very ominous. And then this is not our left hand. Our right hand just travels up to G sharp and C. It's like C sharp minor chord inversion practice. G sharp, C sharp, E. I should still be holding this down, pretend like I am. And we repeat that. And then we're gonna go G sharp and G sharp, C sharp, E, and then that G comes in as like a afterthought almost. It's like dun dun dun. It's played quickly, so all together it'll sound like this. Dun, dun. And then we move. Our left hand is gonna go here, so C, B sharp, aka C, G sharp, and B sharp. And this is the same, but we've got this time a D sharp and an F sharp. And then same idea at the end of the measure here. Dun, dun. And then we're gonna land on C sharp here. There's that familiar C sharp minor chord shape. And then we're gonna go to A, and our left hand's gonna go to F sharp. Ooh, I played that loud. And then we're gonna go G sharp, B. And then we're gonna play B, E. It's a bit of a new feeling. And then we're gonna go A and F sharp. The D sharp here. And then this is crazy. If you can't reach this shape, it's okay just to go. And that's as far as we're gonna take it today. So let's play this from the beginning, nice and slow. Here in my left, like I should have last time, and we'll stop there. So if you want to continue with this, you can just use the sheet music and see how far you can take it. Beautiful song. It's definitely looks kind of overwhelming and it sounds really impressive, but once you get those chord shapes and you sort of get that muscle memory built, it's not nearly as difficult as you might think. Totally doable. Okay, we've got one more to look at, and this one's by Bach, and it might be one of my most favorite songs to listen to. And I just wanted to maybe just take a moment to remind you that when we are really passionate about a piece of music, it gives us the motivation to spend time on something that might, take a little bit of extra practice, but it's worth it. And so these songs are iconic, they're beautiful, they're stunning. And I'm hoping that because of that, it's gonna really like motivate you to wanna spend the time on them. So this Bach one, it's all chords. You won't even believe that it's all chords because you'll think this is classical, this is from a billion years ago. It's just a chord progression, what? But I'm gonna show you how it all goes. So this is called Prelude in C, which makes sense because it's in the key of C. And big guess what our first chord shape is gonna be. C. So we've got C in the left and E, and then G, C, and E in the right. And you're just gonna roll through it like this. It's so pretty, it's so simple, and it looks so complicated on the music, which is why this song is one of those like great wins, because it feels so good once you've got it. And we're gonna roll through like this, and I'm not going to go through all the articulations and the phrasing and the dynamics in this lesson, because I just wanna focus on showing you how simple it is to learn the piece, and then later on in another day, we'll look at articulations. But for now, let's just get through the piece and experience how beautiful it is. So 2 of those. And then we're gonna go C and D, A, D, F. Any guesses what this chord is? It's a D minor chord. We've actually kept the C in the left hand, so if you really wanted to think about it, it could technically be considered a D minor 7. What? Bach is using 7th chords? What's happening? So we're gonna go C, D, A, D, F, and then we roll through that. And each of these measures just repeats the same thing twice. And then we're gonna move our left hand to B and D. And we're gonna be playing G, D, and F. And this is a G7 chord, so the 7th makes another appearance. So we can just roll through by playing B, D. It sounds so pretty. And then we're gonna be playing C and E again. Guess what? We're back to C chord. And this might be my favorite moment coming up. We're gonna do the same thing in the left. It's so pretty. This is an A minor chord with a C in the bass. It repeats. And then a crazy diversion, C to D, and look at F sharp, A, and D. We're playing a D chord. And it repeats. We'll do one more measure, B and D, G, D, G. So we're playing a G chord with a B in the bass here. And it just keeps going. I know I said one more measure, but listen to how pretty it is. Listen to that sound. This is a C major 7. And it just keeps on going, and I could spend all day here because honestly, this is one of my most favorite songs to spend time playing because every change, every movement just feels like this beautiful surprise. And these chords, you know, if you've spent some time with piano, you know that I love chords and I love pop music and I love chord progressions and I love improvising. And it's so amazing to me to look at how this classical song is using chords, and they surprise me because, again, I kind of mentioned earlier, like I wasn't expecting Bach to be having these 7th chords and these slash chords, but they're all here, and it's so beautiful. So, can you tell I love a song? So there you go. That'll get you started, and now that you can see how simple it is, once you think about this as chords, you may just be tempted to go through the whole thing. So once again, we've got full transcription for you to enjoy. So there's 3 classical songs that they sound really impressive. They're gonna make you sound pro, and they are probably not as difficult as you think or may have thought when you looked at the sheet music or heard them performed. So my final little bit of wisdom for you is to take your time, go slow. Remember, anything that you're gonna be playing at the piano with excellence is gonna take practice. And so put the practice time in and then infuse your performance with dynamics and drama and emotions and feelings, and your performance will come off as believable, and you'll take your listener on a journey with you. So I hope you've enjoyed these. Comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know which of these 3 songs is your most favorite, and we'll see you next time.